With Dorisburg, Greg Anthony and David Aldridge, Kevin Harlan. And we welcome in someone who has been writing and communicating NBA basketball thoughts in book, over the air, in podcast, and on TV, the terrific Bill Simmons. Bill, great to have you.
And now for somebody who's playing a video game at 3 in the morning. That's my next, that's the next page for me.
But isn't this a great venue for
This is great.
I know.
It's great. They're half asleep. My voice is waking them up. I'm excited.
Bill Simmons is terrific.
Yeah. Wake up. I'm talking to you.
And they'll have some minutes to make up for with an injury in their roster.
Compensating for the absence of a key player can be difficult, but they've got to hold strong.
Now the starting group for the visitors. Buckets is out there with Mr. Clutch. And it's the natural, and it's the franchise, and it's McCullough in at the power forward. And for the Kings, we've got the great, the captain out there with Houdini, and there's the general, and it's B-Train in at the 2. Here's Mr. Clutch. Passes to the franchise.
Yo, watch it!
Here's the natural. Shoots the 3. Good on the triple.
And he's not going to miss that sort of an opportunity from deep.
Out to the right wing. Here's B-Train. And he can't answer back. The three-pointer offline. Count it. Good.
This guy reads situations so well, and he knows how to execute.
Here's the general. A 14-point game for him in the win against. Misses the wing 3. Here's Santos. He clangs that one off the back iron and down it falls.
That's a great beginning. 3 for 3 from the floor.
It's stolen. Fast break. Here we go. Up the floor. Beautiful dish, and the layup goes down.
Oh, great ball movement there.
Gone 0 of 2 from deep here. Here's B-Train. No good again that time. Gone 4 of 4 to start. So a nice offensive rhythm to start here. Bill, name a couple past superstars that didn't always get enough credit for being as dominant as they were.
Moses Malone would be my #1 pick. Probably the best player in the league for 5 years. Dominant in '83, they won the title in Philly. Really gave Kareem a lot of problems, and was just awesome, and has now just been swept under the rug. Nobody even really remembers. So I would go with him first.
Ever.
Never. Well, it was part of the problem. They were tape delaying games back then, and we didn't have league pass.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of that stuff. I think he was really underrated, and you kind of never know who's going to endure and who's not going to endure, which is one of the reasons I wrote my book.
Here's Santos, and he's fouled pretty hard on that shot, but he's got the chance to pick up the points at the line.
And you know what? You allow a guy to get right to the rim like that. That's your only option.
First trip to the line for him here.
And, you know, guys, he had a big game at the free throw line in their last outing.
Kings have gone 0 of 3 from the field to start the game. 11 feet away, and he knocks down the jumper.
And that's an important basket there. The game was in danger of getting away from him here early if they let that run go on much longer.
Here's Mr. Clutch. A 17-point game for him in the win against New York. That's his personal foul.
Ay, oo nga, no, hindi natin napalitan yung number ni Arvin. Sorry. Number 20.
Here's the natural.
20 lang siya dito.
The tray, just 5 on the clock.
And despite that miss, a strong start for them offensively.
And the call on the shot that sends him to the line. You've been producing documentaries, going deeper into athlete stories, which I know you love, because I think you're curious more than anything else.
Yeah.
So what drew you to that process?
Initially, it was we dove into these stories. We thought that was the inefficiency of, instead of these big, broad type of documentaries, concentrate on events and players and moments and things like that. And I think as you get into that and you start doing it, it just becomes intoxicating. And the cool thing about it is no story should be told the same way you would tell somebody else's story. You just don't know. You got to figure it out. Like we had Steve Nash his last Lakers season. He wanted to do a documentary about it. And then we spitballed it, and we decided it was actually a better idea to do an in-the-moment digital series about it that you could experience in real time. It's the thing. And it was the right idea, and that was really good. I think trying to figure out what story clicks the best with an athlete, how to tell whatever story they have correctly is the coolest part about that.
Just setting the tone with an aggressive move to the rack. And where's the help defensively?
To me, Greg, that's a complete lack of communication on that side of the ball. These guys need to be talking to each other.
Here's buckets. It's deflected. First quarter of action, just under 3.5 minutes played. For the three, unable to get that one. Gone 1 of 2 from long range in the first quarter. 2 free throws coming up, and they call the shooting foul. Bill, you host your own podcast. I've listened to it, and I subscribe to it. I love it. What do you make of so many NBA players now doing the same thing?
We have a couple of them. At the Ringer, we have J.J. Redick, and we have Vince Carter and Ken Bazemore. The ones that are good at it take it seriously. It can't be one of those things where, a player says, you know what, I want a podcast, and then it just magically happens. Like, you got to work on it. You have to use your connections and book your guests, and you have to be candid on the podcast. You can't just show up and just babble. And the guys that have been successful at it are people that could probably have a media career for a living. Like, JJ is clearly going to go in the media after he retires. Richard Jefferson had a great podcast. He's gone in the media. He's really good. So I think you need a little more talent at it that people realize. And you need the consistency of it. You can't say, I'm starting a podcast and then not do it for 2 months. Like, you have to really stick to it.
Lets a floater go. Here's Santos, and it's blocked. They retain possession. He blocks it again.
Nice D.
Here's B-Train. He's guarded by Ross. Ross with the steal. McCullough the pass to Santos. Here's Cool Hands. An 11-point game for him in the win against the Knicks in New York. No good from Ross.
Terrific closeout there to challenge the three.
It may be the hardest thing to do in basketball. Close under control, and he's more than up to the task.
Here's the general. He's gotten some minutes, but nothing on the board yet.
Oh, please.
Nice little run here to shrink that deficit, but can they get over the hump?
Yeah, it feels like they've ramped up their intensity. They have forced good things to happen. Now they're back in it.
Bill, if you were just hired as a GM, which franchise would you model your approach after?
I really like what the Clippers did the last couple of years when they realized they didn't have quite enough to win the title. And instead of just being beholden to being darn close but not quite, they actually blew it up and tried to figure out how to create cap space, find some young players,
and still stay competitive so they put momentum of their franchise.
Yeah, they stumbled into a situation where they had a lot of flexibility no matter what. I think the Celtics before them did the same thing in the mid-2000s. They're just trying to find assets and figure it out on the fly. That's the approach I would use. I would never fully commit one way or the other to anything. The goal is to try to accumulate assets and figure out what you have. And I think the smartest teams do that.
And the jam by Ross.
Oh, taking it to the rack with power.
Hammering down the two-hand slam. Thompson against Ross. 1:19 left here in the opening quarter. Here's Mr. Moves. Score the basket. Nice shot after missing his first attempt.
And giving up some inches inside, but makes up for it with an aggressive style.
Well, he's attacking, he's forcing the issue, and that's simply stated a terrific play.
The Wizard, he's checked in for the great.
Agad mag-appear ng ano nyo ngayon, Pops, ng mga chat nyo. Hindi ko alam kung
Thompson outside. And a lot of contact on that one, so he'll shoot 2 here.
Okay na
The Kings shooting their third and fourth free throw shots of the night.
And last season, 77% from the line. They could usually get the job done there.
That free throw missing.
Pops, PS4, ay kami.
And he sinks the second.
Score gamit natin dito pa. Si Yoch ata Xbox yan.
Stolen by Thompson. The 10-footer finds the target.
Challenging the bigger defender, cutting him down to size with that one.
It is not an easy task trying to convert against length. Give him credit for taking on that challenge.
Now here's Ross. And he just worked New York in that last game. Some firepower from this offense tonight.
Yeah, they got a nice groove going right now offensively. And they keep hammering away at him inside, forcing the ball into the paint.
Here is Ross after the Kings pick up 2. "18 feet out and good as it just snugs right down through the net. 27 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Thompson outside. Ross grabs the board. Gotten 7 of their first 16 field goal attempts to go down here in the first. Trains the three-pointer.
You know, a lot of coaches might let you hear it for taking the three-pointer on the break, but I like the decision there. The D had already collapsed inside.
Here's Mr. Moves. The pass to Aguilar. And he sinks that one in the back of the rim on the way in. The Eraser's got his second bucket tonight. Plenty of offense in this closely contested first quarter of play. The away team leading by 3. And the second quarter about to get started. We'll be back in just a moment.
Kawawa ba yung J1 ni Scotty? Pang display lang sana, no? Ginamit.
It's been a pretty even game here after one quarter of play. And looking at what we've seen so far, guys, from the visiting team, what do you think?
Well, they used the fast break to generate some easy buckets before the defense could get set.
And we know this. Every team in the league now seems to be looking to play with pace.
The Eraser is out there with the Eraser. Then there's Lights Out, and it's the Wizard, and it's Mr. Moves in at the play. Bill, do you ever think we're going to eliminate conferences in the NBA playoff seeding?
I think that they would have done a 16-seed, no conference playoff format years ago. I think they were really worried about the travel, though. And they've looked at it, and they've really studied it, and they've looked at the effects of, let's say Boston plays Portland in round 1, and you're flying 3,100 miles or 3,200 miles in 3 time zones and all that stuff, and it's a 2-2-1-1-1 series. What is the effect on the team if it goes 7? I think they're really afraid of it. I wish they did it. I don't like the conferences. I don't really understand them. And over the course of NBA history, they've been really confused by the conferences. I wrote about this in the book of basketball, where we had years where San Antonio was playing in the East for a while, and Baltimore was in the West. Which, go look at a map. Baltimore being in the West is ridiculous. Baltimore was in the West and Philly was in the East, and they're like 50 miles away from each other. So they've never really 100% figured out the conferences. And I just think the 1 through 16 makes more sense.
It would sure be better basketball.
It would be better.
Yeah. We've got Baddest one out there with Dub. Then there's Big Dog, and it's Cool Hands in at the point guard position. Knocked away. Here's the Eraser. Here's Chan. And trying for the go-ahead basket. It doesn't go in. Puts up a 3. Knocks down the 3 ball. Dubs on his first bucket of the game, and he's on the board for 3. Bill, you look at the awards given out by the league. Most have been around for a while. But is there any award that you'd like to have? Something that's not being touched on in terms of high performance and success?
I think that there should be a playoff MVP. I made this case in my book.
That's a great idea.
There's always like a best guy in every postseason, and I would like to see who that would be. And it's pretty easy to go backwards and figure out who it was. I did that just go backwards and have all the backstory of who it should have been, but then going forward, now here are the ones we're adding. I would like to see that. I would also like to see a best bench celebration award. Because certain teams just have these guys, they're good at pointing, they're good at fist pumping, first guy during the timeout running over,
chest bump,
they have handshakes.
All of it, yeah.
They're waiting at the scorer's table before the game to do the special handshake with each guy. I feel like that guy deserves some shine. Last year, DeAndre Jordan, I think, was one of the first guys I remember who was just great at this before he started playing. Late 2000s clips. I was like, man, this guy's really, he's not playing, but he's really
into
trying to affect the game.
Good. I like that. That one good for 2. 6 points for Mr. Clutch.
How many times have we seen a possession like that from them today? Ending with a basket, coming off a pretty pass.
Bill, you wear so many hats, writing, producing, performing. You're running the ringer, which is highly successful. What role satisfies you the most?
I would say working with young people and trying to help them get better. I think that's the coolest thing you can do, especially if you feel like you've done some good stuff, accomplished some things, realized some dreams. Like the next thing to do is can you help other people get to where they should go?
Well, a lot of this wasn't around when you and I were growing up. So what were your dreams?
My dream initially was just to write a sports column that people read. That's what I wanted forever, yeah. And then the most satisfying thing is just not knowing what's next, but taking chances and hoping things are going to be fun and work out. You have to have a good team around you, and you have to have like 6 or 7 awesome people that you completely trust who can help you do stuff, because it's impossible to do everything yourself, especially if you're trying to increase the scale of what you're doing. And I think that even works for an NBA organization. You know, it's not like one person running everything. I would say putting a good team around you is the most important thing.
Well, just tremendous composure on the interior. Read the defense, take advantage of the situation, and deliver.
Pass the buckets. And almost 4 minutes gone here in the second quarter of play. Pass to McCullough. 6 on the shot clock. Here's Battis one. Got a piece of it. Here's the general. No points in the game yet for him. Fires for 3. That's tipped, but he recovers it. Pass to Aguilar. Another shot. Jump shot is good that time. The Erasers got it back down to a single-digit deficit for the Kings. Gone 6 of 9 in the second quarter. Some good work from the field. And Bill, over a quarter of today's NBA players are born in a country other than the United States. The talent is that broad all over the globe.
And Giannis was born on another planet. We don't know what planet he was.
Otherworldly.
Wasn't Earth. I think he just got dropped from some satellite. Yeah, this all starts with.
I love it too. Don't you? I love the fact we've got players from Latvia and Greece and all over playing.
What's cool about it is they all kind of have distinct identities and quirks, and one of the things that makes somebody like Doncic so much fun to watch is he's not like anybody else. Like, he's close to James Harden, but he's also that step back 3 that he was taking that he's been making his whole life. Other than Harden, nobody was even really shooting it that way, you know? And I think there's an unselfishness with the European guys that is really useful for the way the American style.
100% agree with you.
They really, guys move without the ball, it's give and go, and it's not just like clear out, I'm up.
Yeah. Here's the captain. His last outing with 20 points. Sinks the triple. The captain's got 6 here in this quarter.
I'll tell you, he'll take that all day, every day. I'm sure he was shocked to find himself that wide open.
Here's Mr. Clutch. And he drops in the layup off the glass. Mr. Clutch has got 8 points.
Yeah, and they're starting to warm up from the field this quarter.
Well, Bill, yet another engaging conversation. Thanks for stopping by. We always appreciate your time.
Yeah, next time let's talk about the hard salary cap. I think the people really love that one. Yeah, I have some ideas.
You would make it interesting.
I have some luxury tax ideas. Yeah, we'll get super technical.
I would be here for that one. The Doris you read most reporters, they try to stay impartial, but not Bill Simmons.
And I gotta say, sort of surprising he goes for a slam that difficult when they're trailing.
But still, a magnificent move to the rim.
Terence Jones, meron Pops, naka-ano lang, import na lang yun.
There's 53 seconds left in the first half of the game. And here's a look at what's coming up for the Kings. On Wednesday, they'll tip off a road trip starting in Orlando and going up against the Magic. And then on Friday, they'll be matching up with Chris Paul and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
You know, some might look ahead at the schedule and start marking off how many wins they'll wind up with, but I think that's a trap. You can't take any nights off in the NBA, and you've got to stay in the moment.
Basket good. That's 7 points for Mr. Move.
And there's a pattern starting to take shape here. They're working it inside and getting good shots from close range.
Here's Cool Hands. Rebound by the Kings.
And as you would expect, they came out on top in last season's series against this club, but no reason to expect anything different this time around.
You take nothing for granted. These teams are very familiar with one another, and we expect a close contest.
They can close out the quarter if they want to.
It's all about patience right here. Patience and execution. Get a good look.
The Kings shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
At the line, 2. At the line for 2.
And he knocks down the first one. And good on the second, so he makes them both.
An efficient night from the line. This is a guy who puts in the work and it pays dividends.
Here's Santos. Here's McCullough. First trip to the free throw line for him in this one. And he makes the first. Both shots good from the stripe.
Boy, a really soft touch on display. It is a luxury to have a big man who can hit from the line at a consistent rate.
From deep three-point range, connects from three-point range. Mr. Move's got 10 points now just in this quarter. And that's it for the first half of action in what's been a very close game here. The away team leading by just 2. And don't go away. After the break, we'll see you right back here for the start of the third quarter. And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hey folks, welcome back. Ernie Johnson alongside the Jet. That's Kenny Smith. The Diesel, that's Shaquille O'Neal. A lot of big-time action so far in this one. Checking out the visiting team. Kenny, some perspective, please.
They obviously came in wanting to push the action. And so far, so good. They're looking to get easy transition baskets because the other team is not getting back on defense.
And big fella, let's get your thoughts on the home team.
Well, one thing happened that really helped them out. The bench came in and played absolutely beautiful. Gave them a huge boost. Not just trying to hold court, but actually putting points on the scoreboard. These guys should be starting, Ernie.
And that wraps up the halftime show. Third quarter set to begin in just a few.
Paso.
And in that first half, we saw a pretty tight battle. We'll soon find out what sort of adjustments were discussed during the half. You know, Mr. Moves has been exceptional here, guys, today.
You just love the patience in that first half. Waited until he got the look he wanted.
You know, as a coach, you can preach good shot selection, but it's up to the players to execute, and this guy has done just that.
The general is out there at B-Train. Then it's Houdini. Then there's the captain, and it's Slaughter in at the 5 down low. All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the second half of basketball. We've got Mr. Clutch. The franchise is out there with McCullough. Then there's Buckets, and it's Santos in at the 3 spot. Here's B-Train. No good off the back of the rim. Gone 4 of 8 tonight from three-point land, shooting 50% on the 3 ball here. Shooting foul as the whistle blows. He'll shoot 2 free throws. Or sometimes what was once considered a negative becomes a positive. For example, tweeners are now looked at as very valuable assets and very versatile assets.
Yeah, Kev, no doubt. Like, think about how much the game has changed for players like Draymond Green, who was so integral to the success of the Golden State Warriors. Here was a young guy who was considered at one point coming out of college for the power forward and center spot, too small to play the position. But as the NBA has downsized, as it's gotten smaller and faster, Draymond Green can be as important as any other player on a roster.
Here in this third quarter, just over a minute play. He muscles it in through the contact, and they call the foul. And he's on his way to the free throw line.
And they got to bring the double team on it.
The franchise. Shooting one. The Kings have gone 1 of 3 since starting the second half. Right wing.
Worth the price of admission. And Kevin, even though they're down, he's still looking to do the spectacular, and he did.
Well, maybe this is the best time to do it. B-Train's gone 6 of 14 on the night. The pass to buckets. First minute and a half of basketball here in the third quarter. Pass to Santos. Crane for 2 points.
Timeout.
The Naturals got 12 points in the game.
Wow, what a start. 3 for 3, terrific play calling, everything clicking out of the gates here.
Timeout called by the Kings. Baddest one's checked in for McCullough. He's been on fire lately. Let's take a look at your Eastern Conference Player of the Week, the Natural.
Yeah, well, you just look at the scoring he's provided and the numbers he has put up, and it's a no-brainer. Rarely does someone carry an offense this much and not walk away with some form of hardware for their effort.
The general passes to Slaughter. Passes it to the general. To the middle, 5 on the clock. Can't connect from 13 feet out. Gone 3 of 3 from the field since halftime. Swiped away. Here's Slaughter. Here's the captain. And wrestling for it there, but no one has possession. We'll have a jump ball. Gone 4 of 8 tonight from three-point land, shooting 50% on the 3-ball here. Here's Mr. Clutch. That one is good. He's only missed 1 shot of his 6 taken on the floor.
And still perfect in the second half. 4 straight makes.
Here's B-Train, and there's the slam dunk to finish it off.
Rising and punching it. That was an angry finish.
He wanted that dunk to stand out for sure. Stolen. And there's the pass to the captain. To the inside. Some nice ball movement here by the Kings. Buckets passes to the franchise. Mr. Clutch. It's good. Only a few seconds into the shot clock. Yes, sir. Mr. Clutch has got 4 this quarter.
You can see it. Once this guy gets his rhythm, he is so hard to slow down. What an excellent night for him and his team.
And foul on the shot, so he'll get a chance at the line. The Kings shooting their 7th and 8th attempts at the foul line tonight.
At the line, captain. Taking 2 shots.
And the first one drops. And the Kings making a change here. Thompson's checked in.
Scotty nandiyan na.
Second free throw, no good. And there's the foul. It'll go on the captain. That's his first foul. The general is checked in for the Kings. Gotten every shot to drop since halftime. They're 5 for 5 from the floor. Ross with it, picked up by Thompson. Pass to Cool Hands. Back to Ross. Clock at 6. Third quarter of basketball here, and just a little under 3.5 minutes gone by.
And the activity he shows around the rim is why he is such a respected defender.
And what you love about his work defensively, the ability to challenge and change shots without fouling.
At the line.
Of course, you can't help but notice that teams are shooting earlier in the shot clock. One theory being the faster you shoot, the more possessions you get.
Well,
and the numbers would speak to that.
No doubt, Kevin. And the reality is, for announcers and for fans, that breakneck pace makes it more exciting for us. One NBA coach told me this past year that your field goal percentage in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock gives you your best opportunity to make it. And the longer that shot clock goes on, the more your field goal percentage dips. So, hey, good for us, good for the fans, good for the teams.
And that's because the defense has a chance to settle, correct?
Exactly right. Well, use the pick and going right to the cup. I love the aggressiveness.
Here's Thompson. Ross grabs the board. And there's the foul, and it's on garbage man. That is his first foul of the game.
And the next one puts him in the bonus.
And some changes here for the Kings. Lights out checked in for B-Train. And Mr. Moves subbed in for the General. Ross, that's good.
Unwilling to let up, even for a moment. That's his killer instinct, just fanning the flame.
One thing I enjoy is watching players who don't pay attention to the score. You lock in on the moment and play the right way.
The Kings have made their free throws at a pretty good clip. They've hit 8 of 10. First free throw is good.
2 shots.
Good on both. Here's Cool Hands. He has 5. Ball's knocked loose. And now the Kings fast break. Thompson with the bucket. Thompson's got 5.
The assist.
The visitors with the ball. 13 points was their biggest lead in the game. They'll be playing host to Miami for their next game. That game marks the first half of a quick 2-game homestand.
That's his first personal foul at the line.
And the first one at the line is good.
Impeccable from the line since halftime.
The Erasers checked in for the Great. Both good from the line that time. The Kings have gone 4 of 9 from the floor so far in the third. Here's Mr. Moves. He's guarded by Ross. Here's the break. And contact on the shot, so he'll be shooting free throws here.
No, I tell you what, he earned his money on that foul.
And he can't get the first one.
And he's letting a lot of points get away at the free throw line tonight. It's got to be frustrating to have all that hard work not pay off.
McCullough's checked in for baddest one. The Kings shooting 44% on their field goal attempts in quarter 3. Ross against Thompson. Passes it to Chan. Shot clock at 5. For 3. And that one is off.
Just a solid performance on the interior. The rebounding has been off the charts.
I really like the way he's playing in this half. He looks so much more aggressive and confident.
Here's Mr. Moves. There's the pass to Aguilar. Great touch on the 16-footer. The Erasers got 8 points.
Well, that's somebody who sees the whole floor and delivers it to the perfect wide-open shooter.
Stripped it away. Mr. Moves passes to the Eraser. And the pass goes out of bounds, and they'll turn it over.
Well, when you're careless with the basketball, you can expect that to happen.
The Wizard, he's checked in for the Kings. To the left wing. Here's Cool Hands. Hands it from downtown. Cool Hands got 7 now in this quarter.
Well, overall, they're the team getting the better looks here in this second half.
And I think what's happening is they're getting their shots within the flow of their offense, and you can clearly see the difference.
On 2 of 3 when they ventured outside the arc in the third quarter. To the paint, here's Ross, takes the assist and lays it in. picked out the pass nicely. He's got 12.
And obviously his momentum from the last game has carried over here tonight.
And I think that's the one thing every player is searching for. Consistency. They're giving this guy a chance to carry the offense once again.
It's deflected, and it's going to be out of bounds. And they'll keep possession. Kings on D. They trail by 11.
Last shot.
They get to take on the Magic in Orlando after this one. And that one will start off a 3-game road trip for the team. Jacks up a 3. The shot, no good.
Well, 2 long-range bombs in the first, but that's stalled out right now.
Kept alive. And 2 free throws coming up. Unable to get that one to go with all the contact.
Clearly a foul.
Second personal foul. At the line.
First free throw is good.
And, you know, he may finally be rounding into form after what's been a tough game for him at the line prior to this trip.
There's the triple. Chant. It's off. And as we end the third quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. The away team, they lead by 13. And time to step aside quickly, but we'll be back in no time with the start of the fourth quarter. And now let's go back to a play from earlier as we show you our State Farm assist of the game.
And he sliced the D wide open with his feed. They had no chance to prevent that basket.
Well, that's what a great pass will do, right? You love the unselfish play.
And we reach the fourth quarter in a game that may be already out of hand. On 6 of 11 when they've taken the three-point shot tonight. Very respectable. The eraser is out there with the captain. Then there's Mr. Moves. Then it's the eraser, and it's Chan in at the shooting guard position. And for the Kings, they're shooting an outstanding 53% for the game. Inside, McCullough kicks to Ross. No good that time. And the Kings going the other way now. And he gets the whistle. 2 free throws coming up. Doris, you've accomplished so much in your award-winning career. What was your first experience in broadcasting?
Kevin, my first experience was I left coaching, and they put Providence College women's basketball on radio. That was the first ever game I got to call. It was so cool. Tell me yours. What was the very first? Did you study this? How did you get into broadcasting?
I did. Our high school had a radio station, and the first basketball broadcast was underneath the bleachers, looking through popcorn boxes and legs of the people that were standing in the bleachers so that I could see the court from the baseline.
Amazing.
Because that's where the telephone cables were to plug in our equipment. And I was 16 years old.
Incredible.
I remember it very well.
Incredible.
Mr. Moves passes to the captain, and they cash in right away with the quick shot. Fourth quarter still young, just over a minute play. And there's the foul. It'll go on the captain. That'll be his second foul of the game. And some changes here for the Kings. Houdini comes in for the eraser. And B-Train subbed in for lights out. Cool hands passes to McCullough. Here's the natural. This one for 3. They get it back. McCullough plays it up and banks it in.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
Here's B-Train, and that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle, and 2 shots coming up.
That's his third personal foul. At the line.
First one falls for him. The general is checked in for Mr. Moves.
Takes 2 shots.
He's perfect from the line this time. Final quarter here, and we're just over a minute and a half through it. And that one, good. And it's 13 points for the franchise.
Wow, he is lighting it up here in the second half.
From deep, nailed from three-point land. 21 points for B-Train.
Ooh, finally hitting one from range. That's his first 3 of the night.
Here's the franchise, and down it goes. Dunked through off a wonderful assist.
And although an undersized center, more than making up for it with some serious hops.
Gone 4 of 8 in this fourth quarter, shooting at even 50% from the field. Rebound by the Kings. Houdini's got rebound number 5 here tonight. Here's B-Train. It's blocked. Pass to Mr. Clutch. Over to the left wing. Pulls up from the corner with the second effort. And that'll be 2 free throws coming up. Officials on the call with the foul.
That's his second personal foul at the line.
The first one falls. The greats checked in for the Kings. And that's good as he hits both of his shots. You know, Doris, you and I love history. And we were talking the other day, you and I, about Bill Russell and his 11 championship rings. Do you think anyone's ever going to break that record?
I think it'll be close to impossible, Kevin, and the reason is, number one, there were so many fewer teams back then for Bill Russell, in no way diminishing the greatness of one of the game changers, both between the lines and outside the lines. Bill Russell will always be an historic figure, but it's very tough to compare eras. There's now 30 teams, nutrition, conditioning, coaching. There's just so much more information in the current era.
No doubt he's struggling right now from the field. Let's see if he can get it going this quarter.
Kings have gone 2 of 7 from the field in what's been a cold start to the fourth quarter for them. A look at the clock, a little under 3.5 minutes gone here in the fourth. Here's Mr. Clutch. And it's no good. Third time he's missed in 9 shot attempts. Here's B-Train, and he could not get that one to go. A lot of contact, and he'll go to the line for 2.
And just a better job of getting to the line here in the second half. Didn't get there once in the first.
And he makes the first.
2 shots.
So he gets them both. Gotten off to an 0 for 2 start from downtown here in the fourth quarter. Oh, and he's going up for the alley-oop here.
They're scoring boatloads of buckets. It's raining buckets from inside.
Gone 1 of 3 from outside the arc since we've reached the fourth quarter. Here's the captain, down low. Here we go, 1-on-1. Here's Santos, and easy 2 points on the layup. The Naturals got 9 points now in just the second half.
Want easy looks? Don't allow the defense to set up.
What a beautiful fast break opportunity, and the finish pretty good.
And now the presentation of our Jordan Player of the Game, the franchise.
And he's up over 50% from the field here tonight. And that speaks to how solid his shot selection has been. Nothing forced and really no bad decision. Just good, smart, offensive basketball.
Coming into this game, he'd been having a tough stretch. We all know that, but not anymore. He's back at his best, and I think it's safe to say that slump is over. Here's Mr. Clutch. Buckets, passes to the franchise. Looks good, is good. That's his 7th basket in 12 tries.
That's their 3rd straight make off an assist.
The Kings shooting pretty good tonight at 48%. Passes it to Slaughter. Here's the general. Doris, you and I are faced with this a lot, voting for the MVP. Great stats versus winning. Where do you stand on that when you vote for the league MVP?
Well, winning could be the definitive line if I have 2 candidates who are close. For instance, for me, this last MVP came down to James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I took it to the last possible moment. And I could have gone in either direction and been comfortable. Ultimately, I went with Giannis, and the deciding factor came down to he led his team to the best record in the league. It was a difficult vote, but ultimately it's one category which helps tilt me in one direction or another.
And I did too, and what also helped me was just the improvement defensively they had made, and I know Antetokounmpo was a very big part of it.
No, it's a great point. He was a two-way force.
And he could tell his guys were dragging a little bit, calling timeout to kind of let them catch their breath.
And some changes here for the Kings. The Erasers checked in for the great. Thompson comes in for Houdini. And Mr. Moves subbed in for the general. Now the pass to Santos. Shot clock at 6. Stolen away. Here's B-Train. Goes! What about that dunk?
That was special. My goodness.
Oh, that's an old-fashioned rim wrapper.
Just a remarkable gem. These fans' jaws are on the ground right now. 1:30 left to play in the final quarter. No good. Shot missing. Gone 2 of 5 on three-point shots since the end of the third quarter. Back to Thompson. No good, and tight defense there bothered that shot. Gone past the three-point line for 13 of their shots. They're 6 of 13. They get it back. Pass to Mr. Clutch. And he's good on the three ball.
Well, you look up at the scoreboard. The time remaining, this game is effectively over.
Well, you have to appreciate the hard work that went into building this lead. They have been terrific all night.
The franchise passes to Santos. Here's Mr. Clutch from the baseline. Here's the franchise. Thompson with the rebound.
And he did everything he could to make that shot as difficult as possible.
We call that a great contest. You know this is something he brings to the table, the ability to anchor your defense.
And the foul called on Mr. Moves. And that'll be his third foul so far.
Substitution on the court.
29 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They swipe it. And now the Kings fast break. Basket counts.
Boy, they wasted no time getting the ball up the court. Great decision to push it and make the sharp pass to the rim.
Poked loose. Launches the three. No good there. And so it's a victory for the road team in this one. They came in here and took care of business like they were the home team.
And Kevin, how about the mental toughness that this group showed? They were never rattled at all by the opposing fans.
And that'll do it, folks. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Aldrich, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, mga paps.